You think toxic behavior is normal because you've been conditioned to abuse. You think it is so hard and so challenging to let go of people, places, and things who no longer resonate with you because you experience a form of trauma. You think so highly and love these people so much, and you think it's more than what it is when it's not. The only connection you have is through abuse. So, trigger warning, no, this is not to invalidate you. No, this is not to speak down. But cutting off toxic people is imperative. In this video, I'm going to explain to you and recommend what you should start paying attention to and what you need to start applying when it comes to removing and letting go of people from your past. Trauma is based off of the severity, meaning everybody in life does not go through the same trials and tribulations, but trauma is based off of the experiences and the trials and tribulations that you've endured. Some people are going to suffer more than others. This is not to compare or to contrast, but just to inform and educate you. A lot of people have been traumatized since they were little, as children. So when you experience trauma early on, you do not have the mental or the emotional capacity psychologically or logically to sympathize with individuals, to empathize with yourself, or experience love because you've been abused psychologically, emotionally, mentally, or financially, or however. And if that's all you were aware of, if your environment is low vibrational, so corrupt, chaotic, confused, you may be unaware and more likely suffer with anxiety, depression, and even thoughts. Now, when you are unaware or uneducated and informed, this can cause you to not want to work on yourself or to step out of yourself to challenge what has been programmed or taught to you. And if you do, it causes you to become paranoid. It causes you to have a sense of distrust within yourself and others. Healing is not in any size, shape, or form. It's not a one size fit all. It is up to you, and there's no right or wrong way to do so. So in this video, take what resonates, leave the rest. If you're new here, welcome or welcome back. It's your favorite mental health specialist, Ty Guidance. It is not hard to cut off toxic people. You have become accustomed and my camera got cut off, but you have been accustomed and familiar to negative energy that you think it's normal. And it's not, and it's unhealthy, and it's very dysfunctional. So in order for you to remove yourself and not feel guilty, you have to understand that you're not alone and you're not the only person. Now, I'm not going to project onto you that other people have it worse than others, because that is not helping your situation and that does not affect you. But what I am going to recommend are the following tips that you need to start applying and keep in mind. You are only responsible for yourself. At a certain part and point of your journey and in your life, you will become consciously and subconsciously aware of the actions that you have made, whether they were projected onto you based off of the resources that you were born into, such as your family, your environment, and your education, compared to where you learn who you are. And you take that information and you may either remove or add on to information for you to get to where you need to be and decide what it is that you want to be in this life and who you want to be. Just because you were told certain things about life doesn't mean that has to resonate with you. You're not being rebellious to just be an a-hole or to be problematic, but you are learning to have your own individuality. You were made an individual. But you will not be an individual. You will not reach the highest version and the greatest version of yourself if you are still attached to those. So you don't need to feel guilty. All the people that you think you are in love with, it's not to take away from it and deny that you have love, but that is your energy. So that's the second thing you need to be reminded of. This is your energy. The people that betrayed you, which more than likely are going to be the people that are closest to you, and I'm going to explain why, do not have that energy for themselves. And the reason why people love to say, oh, it's always the people that are closest to you, is because strangers don't know you. You only know what you know. So if you grew up in a big family or a small family in a big town or small town, unless you travel to other cities, towns, and continents and provinces, You only know what you've been exposed to in that small or big town, in that state, in that country, with the demographic of people, with the resources, with the education, with the music and the culture, and etc. So you can't blame anybody other than yourself, because those people too have their own life. All of us are connected, but we're individuals at the end of the day. And the whole purpose of the healing journey is for you. It's not lonely. You can't control what the people and places, things have already did to you. And that's the third thing. What has happened to you has already happened. And I'm going to hold your hand. And I apologize nobody was there for you. But this is a moment now when you come across this video for you to start protecting yourself and loving yourself the way that nobody else did. If people do not have love for themselves, if they don't respect themselves, if they've been traumatized since they were little, how are they going to help? It requires a high level of intelligence and a high level of maturity. You have the high levels of maturity. You have the high level of intelligence. You wouldn't be watching these videos if you weren't, if you didn't. You still have a choice to make in this life. Just because you were abused doesn't mean that you have to be broken and bitter for the rest of your life. And because you've already experienced the trials and tribulations, the best thing that you can do and that I recommend for you is forgiving yourself, making peace with your past, and letting it go. It's not your energy. Nobody wants to be touched on inappropriately. Nobody wants to be in poverty. Nobody wants to deal with abuse or being physically beaten by their loved ones. But it happened. And it's going to continue to happen until individually people decide, I don't deserve this. And it starts with you. It starts with me. I'm responsible for myself. I'm not forcing healing upon anybody, but I've healed myself and I'm healing myself. I'm no longer allowing negative energy and people, places, and things from my past to affect me. I've been forgave them and myself a long time ago. But this is not about me. But as your favorite mental health specialist, as a person who has love internally, you have to learn to love yourself. You're not going to be in healthy relationships until you learn how to forgive yourself and love yourself and protect yourself. These are the cards that you have been dealt with. I'm pretty sure if everyone wished could go back in time, they would. You can't. You cannot go back in time and know what you know now or change the people, places, and things that you've endured. You cannot. And it will drive you insane until you learn to make peace with it and surrender and just let it go. The only reason why people struggle with PTSD is because they're holding on to memories that no longer exist. They were never taught how to communicate. They were never taught how to express themselves. They suppress their feelings, both men, both women, black, white, Hispanic, Asians, the gays, everybody. Everybody. You don't deserve to be around this energy. If you really loved yourself, you wouldn't allow it no more. You would create distance. Just because you're separating yourself, just because you have to cut people off, whether it's temporary or long term, doesn't mean that you never love them. And nobody can make you feel bad about doing it. I don't feel bad about not being around certain people. If anything, I'm grateful. Not to talk badly about the people in my past, not to make it seem like I'm better or they're less. It's not even about that. You can't operate in your ego and then move out of love. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't. And I understand you may love those people, but if you really love those people, you would love yourself first. It's degrading. You don't have to tolerate abuse. Those people need help. They need more help than you do. When you try to heal, you're on the right path. You're not weak for expressing yourself. I'm not weak for crying. I'm not weak for showing emotion. I'm not weak for being vulnerable. People who cannot do those things are mentally ill and they have mental illnesses. That's why they label it and say that you have ADHD, you have PTSD, you have OCD, because you're going through something internally. It's psychological. If you do not learn how to regulate your emotions, you are going to suffer when you don't need to. It is challenging because you have been so traumatized and afraid to express what has happened to you because of judgment and shame. The same people that abuse people are the only people that are going to judge you and shame. What's more important? You learning to love yourself and releasing anything and anybody who's no longer serving you, or caring about abuse from abusers. And when you heal, that means you have to tell the truth. So if you don't like the truth, this is not going to be for you. But for those of you who are ready to overcome your fears and the truth, make sure you like this video, comment down below. I'm going to end it off here because I'm going to make a playlist in a series. But you are important. You don't deserve to be dealing with low vibrational energy. It is August, mid-August 2024 when I'm posting this video. Years are going to go by. The time is going to go by. And I'm speaking from experience. You're only going to get older in life. The best thing you can do is learn to forgive yourself, create distance, and heal. Change your behavior, change your ways. It is a process, it is a journey, and it takes time. So with that being said, make sure you follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at @Ty_Guidance, TYI.guidance. All the information will be down in the description box below. And if you want a one-on-one appointment, schedule your appointments at tyguidance@summer.com. Availabilities are available. I'm making this video short because there's so much that I can say. Thank you for who are subscribing. If you're new here, welcome or welcome back once again. And for those of you who are returning, start getting a notebook and a pen and paper. I'm going to start trying to put that in the beginning of the video, but it's a lot of notes. It's a lot of things that have to be unpacked. We are starting from the root, A through Z. That's how we're breaking it down over here. And everything is coming out. You don't need to continue to have dead weight, dead people when they have already removed themselves. The betrayal happened. The past is over with. But you're suffering because you're holding on and you're afraid. You don't need to be afraid. You do not need to be afraid. But what you also don't need to do is continue these same cycles. Nobody's going to make fun of you. No one's going to make you feel bad about becoming the best version of yourself. If these people had the emotional capacity and the love, they would do the same, and they don't. It's not selfish to be selfless. I love you. You're important. Let me know what you think of this video. Until next time. Bye.